Hello everyone. Our tax guru Nijoe is back with us. In the light of the new financial budget, let us see what all benefits and savings are there for the taxpayer. He will also demonstrate the LTA cash voucher scheme, which is announced for this financial year. Over to Nijoe.
Thank you, Ashish. Welcome everybody once again to mediamathamgi. We are all entering into a new financial year. At the same time, we are also worried about the current financial year. How do we proceed with the tax filings, etc. Now, there are a lot of queries we got from our viewers about the recent budget. Now, let me start with the budget impacts on income tax. Frankly, there is no changes in the income tax slab at all. Whatever we discussed in our previous videos, the new regime and old regime is still applicable, and there is no change in that, neither in the current financial year nor in the next coming financial year. Budget is always for the next financial year. So there is no change at all in the tax structures. Having said that, there are few mentions about income tax in the budget speech, which probably it will be good for us to know. Probably I'll be able to go one by one. The first point is there is no income tax filing required for our senior citizens above 75 years old. I think in our last episode regarding senior citizen, we were mentioning about how difficult it is actually for senior citizens to do e-filing and all. But somehow, surprisingly, actually, it's a very good move from the finance minister that above 75 years, actually, in fact, the senior citizens doesn't have to file their income tax return, but of course, with some conditions. Condition number one, the taxpayer must have only income from pension, salaries, or bank interest, and that also from a single bank. Example, his pension must be coming to a bank, the same bank itself. If he has got interest, then he will get the benefit of this. In such case, I think we don't have too much of information regarding that, but what our understanding is, government is going to assign few banks to do this. Most probably the government and public sector banks will be assigned to do this. So the senior citizens above 75, if their pension coming to that bank, and if their FDs or whatever life savings they have, if that is also in the same bank, the bank will be taking care of the whatever is required. It doesn't mean they don't have to pay the income tax. They are still liable to pay the income tax. There is no change in the slabs. But the only thing I said, they don't have to go through the hassles of filing income tax. But if they have any other income like business income or rental income or anything else, then they still need to continue the way they were filing IT returns. Another announcement by the finance minister was the pre-filled forms for filing IT returns. Pre-filled forms, which we already have it actually to a certain extent. Most of our TDS information can be transferred automatically to your income tax return forms now. But right now, they have included a lot more things like your share transactions and their capital gain transactions, your bank interest transaction, TDS transaction. All this information can be pulled to the income tax return form, which will make a taxpayer's life easier when it comes to income tax returns. So right now we may have to do a lot of data entry when it comes when we have more different classification of incomes. The more data entry you do, and there are more chances of you making mistakes. Instead of that, the department itself will help you to transfer the data from their database, which is already available because of the TDS filings and all those things. They will transfer the data to your income tax return forms, and you may have to just close it with whatever necessary data. So that is another very important announcement done by the Honorable Finance Minister in this budget. Another mention is about the employee contribution of pension, PF funds. Now, if the interest earned per annum, if it is about 2.5 lakhs, then it is going to be taxed. This is going to affect only the HNIs, that is high net worth individuals, because getting an interest of 2.5 lakhs per annum on the employee contribution is not probably applicable for a normal taxpayer. So it is not targeting a normal citizen. It is probably targeting the high net worth individuals who has got investments into PF, which will not make PF investment very attractive for them. The next announcement was regarding higher TDS percentage for non-filers, which is actually a very good move from the department, because as of now, we see a lot of people actually who has got income who doesn't declare their income and file income tax returns. Now, at least this time, actually, government has decided to target who doesn't file income tax returns. So if you don't file your income tax return, then the coming year, actually, when you are paid, then you will be into a larger TDS percentage. Like, for example, if you don't file your ITDS returns, and next year, if you are paid for some consultancy fees, instead of taking a 10% of TDS cut, you may have to take a cut of 20% out of that. So it's a government will try to collect more tax, and which will force you to file IT returns from next year onwards. Another very important announcement is regarding the ULIP policies. We all have the habit of buying various insurance policies, either the traditional endowment policies or ULIP policies. But now, this time, the government has introduced income tax on redemption of ULIP policies if the premium paid is 2.5 lakhs or above per annum. So you need to be very careful when you buy your insurance policies next time onwards. You have to make sure actually it doesn't come. Anyway, it is applicable only for the policy which you take it after this February onwards. So if you have bought a policy already, then you don't need to worry about that maturity amount. Also, there is a good news for the new home buyers. Those who buy a house with a housing loan, if the cost of the house is less than 45 lakhs, they were already eligible for an additional income tax benefit or additional exemption of interest for interest of 1.5 lakhs already, which is over and above the 2 lakhs, which is applicable for everybody now. Now that 1.5 lakh rupees exemption has been extended for one more financial year, actually, by the Honorable Finance Minister in this finance budget. And another important announcement by the Finance Minister is the deadline for filing IT returns. Currently, the deadline for filing IT returns is 31st March 2022, which has been revised to 31st December 2021. Last but not least is the announcement of LTC or LTA cash voucher scheme announced by the Honorable Finance Minister. In fact, the announcement came much before the budget itself, which came in the month of October 2020. In fact, because of the COVID pandemic, many of us were not able to travel, and many of us did not get the opportunity to claim the LTA, leave travel allowances, which we used to claim. But LTA is normally claimed twice in the block of 4 years, which we had already mentioned in our previous videos. So now one block ends in the month of in this financial year in 2021. So due to the COVID situation, actually many of us are not able to travel, and we are not able to take the benefit of that LTA. Initially, this special cash voucher scheme was introduced for the benefit of central government staff, and later government decided to pass on this benefit to the private sector employees as well. And we will be able to get the benefit of this LTA cash voucher scheme introduced by the department. Let us see how it works. Now, everybody, all of us may have a component called LTA in our salary structure. Instead of spending it for traveling, you can also spend this amount for buying anything from the market, and with that bills actually you will be able to claim the LTA cash voucher stream. Not yet declared for the next financial year. It is applicable for the current financial year. So the purchases you make from 20th October 2020 till 31st March 2021 with 12% or above GST can be utilized against this particular scheme. Let us see actually point by point actually what all things we need to do to avail this benefit. The LTC scheme requires employees to spend 3 times the amount of deemed LTA fare on the purchase of goods or services having the GST rate of 12% or more. So that is the first and foremost condition what you have it actually. You need to spend 3 times of your eligible amount. You need to spend it actually. We'll illustrate with an example actually for you to understand better actually. Okay. Now the amount must be spent during the period of 12th October 2020 till 31st March 2021. That is the second condition. And third condition, and it is very important, which is insisted by the government, is the payment must be made through a digital mode, which includes check, UPI, debit or credit card, etc. If it is paid by cash, you are not eligible for this particular scheme. And the employees must submit a copy of the invoice, purchase invoice actually, with the clear GST number on that. Employee also has got a opportunity or option to submit the same bill, copy of the bill with self-attestation if the employee want to retain the original for some reason. Let me illustrate with an example here. Let's say Mr. A is an employee of corporate sector under the LTA scheme who is having an LTA amount of around 1,50,000 rupees in his salary. Eligible family members are 4 as per the income tax LTC rule. And the maximum benefit what he can get as per the guidelines of LTC scheme for non-central government or private sector employee will be 36,000 rupees per person, which comes to 1,44,000 rupees actually for his family. Now, amount he need to spend on the purchase or maximum what he can spend will be 3 times of this amount, 3 times of 1,44,000 rupees, which comes to around 4,32,000 rupees. Okay. Now, if he spent, now 1,50,000 rupees is his total LTA amount. And if he spend this 1,44,000 rupees for his purchases, then only the remaining 6,000 rupees will be taxed. The remaining amount of LTA will be exempted for him. So earlier actually you used to give the bills or maybe your travel bills against this, and reaching a travel bill of 1,50,000 rupees is very difficult because first of all, they accept only economy fare, economic class tickets of flight and train. Now, at least with this facility, actually, you will be able to claim much more amount actually. If you are able to follow this few steps, you'll be able to claim that much of, you'll be able to get that much of exemption. So I think we have covered all the topics related to income tax in the budget, and also regarding whatever additional thing what we can do in the current financial LTA cash voucher scheme is the only additional thing we need to worry right now. You don't have much of time actually. Many of the employers are also not sure about how to take the data and what is the rules applicable for this. Having said that, you are eligible for that. So let us. You please try to get it actually. You can try to get it done through the employer himself. I'm sure government will allow you to do that when you do the filing of, when you do the IT returns also. But as of now, there is no mention of such things in the forms. The forms, since the forms will be released in the later date, we will not be able to say how the form is going to come. So better if it is possible, you get it done through your employer itself right now, or we have to wait for further announcements in the income tax return forms. So I think we are done with this right now. In case if you have any queries, you can always get back to us. Thank you for all the support. Thank you very much all the viewers of mediamathamgi. Thanks a lot. And over to Ashish.
It happens through e-commerce. So all the e-commerce platforms will benefit out of this problem.
E-commerce, or when you buy it directly also, it's possible. You go to the shop and buy it. Only thing they are asking is a valid GST bill with the GST number of the vendor who's supplying it actually.
And are there any kind of items that are applicable, or any items?
As of now, there is no mention of that. Only thing is actually you should be buying anything with minimum of 12% of GST. Like, for example, if you're buying food, I mean, food attracts only 5% of GST. In that case, that is not possible. So your only condition is actually it must have minimum of 12% GST, 12 or above.